Next up on the Cosmic News Network, First Contact with Joshua Put.
Good morning, Earthlings. How you doing today? Welcome back to First Contact Radio. Glad that you could be here. Today is the 23rd of March. We just had a full moon lunar eclipse that took place a short time ago, a few hours ago. Our aspects and things we're looking at today is we have a moon sign which made a transition into Libra just past midnight at 12:23 a.m. It will be there for the next couple of days. Libra is an air sign. Air has to do with words, has to do with actions. The tarot card that is representative of Libra is this card right here. It's the card of justice. It's all about balance, karmic balance, henceforth the scales. Looking to balance things out, and we balance things out through the actions that we take and the words that we speak. It's a reminder that it's important that we not only speak words and do things that are going to help us, but we avoid the things and avoid the words that are going to hurt us. So, very important lesson there from Libra. Looking on, we have our sun sign is still in Aries. Over the course of today, some of the aspects have already happened. The first one is a square between Jupiter and Saturn. Expansion and discipline. Expansion and discipline. So we need to stay focused, see what this energy is all about here, what is being expanded. It's all within the realm. If we look at Jupiter, we can get some more clues. We see Jupiter right here, so it's an expansion to taking place within this area here of Virgo. Virgo is the hermit, holding the lantern, shining the light high, but it's in a square with Saturn, which is giving us ideas of discipline and areas of truthfulness in areas of Sagittarius. Okay, so perhaps the practical way in which we're bringing these truths into the world and how we expand that ideas of truthfulness, those seem to be playing themselves out today. The lesson that we're dealing with just went into effect a couple hours ago, and we will be feeling that for a bit. We have a couple oppositions. First is an opposition with the moon, Libra, and Mercury, and then we have an opposition with the sun and the moon. So if we go take a look at these here, here's the sun right here, the opposite the moon. Sun's Aries, moon is in Libra, and the other one was the moon and Mercury right here. We can see Mercury's just gone over the cusp from Pisces on into Aries. Okay, so new beginnings, going from water to fire. Okay, so we have some nice things that are balancing themselves out. Our communication with balance, balancing ourselves out. The conscious mind of Aries with the unconscious of Libra. So we want to put things in order, but we also want to do it in a way that's going to be beneficial and help to balance out, help to correct some of the issues we're dealing with. Next aspect that comes up ahead of us, 11:33 a.m., Mars is going to energize what is going on in our reality as it goes into sextile with Libra. And then at 3:11 p.m., Mercury is going to have a conversation here with the Sun. They're in conjunction, and conjunction is like they're right next to each other. So right here, they're able to converse about the issues of Aries. Mercury wants to know how to communicate better and is always looking to communicate. Mercury's the messenger. Okay, so these are what we're dealing with today. Air sign, fire sign. Not a lot of emotions today. We've dealt with emotions the last couple of days. So today's ideas and expression of ideas, putting those emotions aside. At the 100% moon, as we now know, full moon happened just a little while ago, 5 a.m. California time. New moon is April 7th, so 2 weeks from today. Use this as a guide, see where you're going to be on the new moon, even look at where you're going to be in the next full moon. You know, often it's good to chart our progress from moons to moons. On the Jewish calendar today is 13 Adar 2. 13 Adar 2, the daily thought, happiness times 3. There is a quiet happiness, an inner sense of bliss, the innocent joy of a small child, one of wonderment and gratitude. It is a happiness to carry with you at all times. Then there are those seasons when happiness blooms for all to see, bursting out in a song, in dance and celebration, a festival, a wedding, a time to feast and rejoice with family and friends. But the ultimate happiness is the joy of Purim. It is no longer about you, your family, or your life. It is about making others laugh, bringing smiles to the weary, celebration to those who feel abandoned, a feast to those who had lost all hope. It's a season for breaking out of yourself, out of your character, out of those bounds that you have set for yourself beyond knowing. The light of Purim knows no bounds. Third day on the Dreamspell or the Mayan Oracle, third day of the wave spell of the human, which is all about free will. So we have the Wizard of Timelessness here, which is teaching us the timelessness of free will, guided by the mirror, which is endlessness. So we have today the electric tone activates, so the activation of timelessness guided by endlessness. Could be a profound experience. The hand is the hidden power, which moves us along. The serpent, our life force energy, is our like-minded energy, and planting the seed, that's our challenge for today, planting these ideas. The phrases I activate in order to enchant bonding receptivity. I seal the output of timelessness with the electric tone of service. I am guided by the power of endlessness. Over at space weather, the solar wind is currently at 424.3 kilometers per second. Planetary K index quiet at a 2. Notification we may get up to 0.4 within the next 24 hours. Large corona hole up at the top of the sun here. Going to be feeling wind the next week from that 27th, 28th. M-class flare possibility as well as X are both at 1%. Geomagnetic storm activity is subsiding a bit. Mid-latitudes from 25 down to 10. Upper latitudes from 30 down to 25, even 35 down to 15. So things are definitely subsiding. And in the sky, it says as the stars come out this week, Jupiter and Sirius are the two brightest points in the sky. Jupiter in the east, southeast, Sirius towards the south. You'll be at exactly the same height around nightfall for those of us near latitude 40 north, which is around Denver, New York, Madrid. If you're south of these, then balance a little later, north there a little earlier. Okay, you'll be able to look at this grid next day or two. And there you have it. That's our cosmic weather for today. So we've got the Emperor putting things in order. We have Justice, which is wanting to balance things out in our reality as things are being put in order. So we have the fire, the ideas, the air, the expression. Think how fire and air work in the world. You light a candle and you got the flame going. Sometimes the flame will be there, but the wind goes and it flickers. Okay, the wind is providing some sort of an expression, an action upon the idea, that flame, which causes it to move. So they work really nice together. However, the wind can blow, which means there could be an extreme amount of action, which completely blows out the fire. Or the fire can get so intense that it snuffs out the actions. In other words, so many ideas that we don't know what to do. We've been in that situation, or the opposite, where there's just so much action that it doesn't make sense and it kind of snuffs out the ideas. So we have to find ways to work well together, organize ourselves, organize our minds. All that makes a big difference. And there you go. UFO news is up next. Here we do it.
This is the UFO News with Joshua Poet.
All right, Dirk, thank you very much. 4 stories today. First story comes to us from San Bernardino, California. UFOs over San Bernardino. New footage of unidentified flying object across the sky above San Bernardino, filmed on the 22nd. Video is 2 minutes 45 seconds in length. It says, what do you think about this footage? Is it just a drone or something more mysterious? Okay, there we go. There it is right there. Okay, interesting. Alright, so there you go. Check it out. See what you think about that. Moving on. This story here is locating exoplanets and alien civilizations. A move from the MUFON Symposium, Marc Antonio. Okay. This presentation, Marc Antonio calls Light Years to Earth, explores the current state of our understanding of exoplanets and evidence of alien civilizations in our galaxy, and how these discoveries have sparked an entirely new field of scientific study designed to find alien civilizations that may have managed to bridge the vast distances of space and perhaps may have found us. The expected number of Earth-like planets in our own galaxy points to a high probability that other advanced civilizations share this galaxy with us. Tantalizing science is before us, therefore we need to create a scientifically based search program has become a high priority. Travel across the galaxy requires circumventing barriers in conventional physics such as the speed of light. The UFO TOG-2 system currently under development by Marc Antonio and his team of scientists is designed to use advanced technology to hunt for what Marc Antonio calls the skid marks of alien races, trace evidence of advanced propulsion technology. In simple terms, this presentation includes the details of how scientists plan to see these skid marks using technology and how they intend to find evidence of visitation using science first and foremost. The UFO-TOG V2 technology, which was presented in detail in this program, represents how, in the words of Marc Antonio and his team, they are putting their money where their science is. 1 hour, 25 minutes for this video. Links available so you can check it out. Here we have one that is kind of unusual. This really isn't a sighting per se as a disappearance. This is the UFO Museum in Roswell. And this UFO, which is part of the decorum of the building, well, it was stolen. And you could see that it was obviously a great deal of work to steal this. You can tell, look where it's positioned, what somebody would have had to do to get to that. Okay, a recent theft of a UFO that was on display at the museum seems a bit like a publicity stunt, but it gave me a good laugh. I'm not sure if NORAD really needs to know, but I'm sure NORAD has nothing to do all day. Okay. The UFO Museum has a mock-up of a flying saucer embedded in the outside corner of the building. A snowstorm this past winter knocked it off, so the staff took it out back and stored it under an awning behind the museum. It is now mysteriously missing. The Roswell Police Department sent out a plea on Facebook on Monday with the title, "Be on the lookout, missing spaceship." Thieves apparently made off with the craft overnight during the weekend. Surveillance footage shows 3 subjects with a red pickup truck carrying the saucer off, according to the police. It should be hard to hide the UFO. It's made from fiberglass, metal, and stainless steel, and is wider than the truck bed it was spirited away in. It had been repaired after the winter storm adventure and was just waiting to be reinstalled on the corner of the building. Facebook commentators have given the police some helpful suggestions. One person recommends contacting NORAD, the organization tasked with detection, validation, and warning of attack against North America, whether by aircraft, missile, or space vehicles. Another Facebook fan suggested the aliens from 1947 crash may have come back for their spaceship. One person insists the missing prop is not a flying saucer, but actually a weather balloon. Hopefully, this one X-file that will come to a speedy resolution with the return of the beloved UFO. Alright, so don't know why you'd want to steal this, but hey, jackass, whichever one of you stole this out there, I've been to Roswell a number of times. I've been to this museum. It's a nice place. So whatever jackasses decided to steal this, why don't you just turn your little red pickup around and drive back and put it back where it was, because it doesn't belong to you. Okay? It belongs to the museum. People have gone there to study and research and to see this there. It's part of history. It's part of their culture out there. So do the right thing. Take it back. Take it back in the middle of the night when no one knows who you are. That way, people don't actually have to see and realize what an idiot you are. You can just slowly do it and know yourself how much an idiot you are and leave it at that. Okay? People shouldn't steal things from others. Something like this especially. This is not right. It's not right. So, my 2 cents on the matter there. Don't steal. 4 unexplained cases that have left experts searching for answers. It's a lengthy piece here. It's into these 4 cases. Frederick Valentich, it's not an aircraft. The disappearance of Frederick Valentich took place Saturday, October 21st, 1978. The 22-year-old was flying a Cessna 182L light aircraft over Bass Strait in Australia during a 125-mile training flight when he got in touch with Melbourne Air Traffic Control. He told them 300 meters above him was another aircraft. However, his chilling final words before cutting out were, "It's not an aircraft." And to add to the mystery, Valentich's disappearance coincided with several UFO sightings on the same day of the incident. Okay. Alright, then we go down. We have Travis Walton. February 75, Travis Walton was working with a logging crew in the Apache Sightgrave National Forest in Arizona alongside Ken Peterson, John Gillette, Steve Pierce, Alan Delis, and Dwayne Smith. On their way back from work one night, the men claimed to have seen a shining yellow light in the sky. Shortly afterward, a golden disc, which they described as glowing metallic object, was spotted in the air. Travis, against the wishes of the other men, sprinted towards it. The men claimed that the beams of blue and green struck the logger, who was then hurled through the air. In a panic frenzy, his pals in the pickup made off. Writing about the case, Jerome Clark, a UFO historian, wrote that a few abduction reports have generated as much controversy. Even though they were worried that no one would believe them, the men returned home and called the police. Okay, and then as we know, Travis appeared a couple days later and had quite the story to tell. Not the story that Hollywood movies tell, but quite the story indeed. Betty Barney Hill, they wanted to put me on a table and said they wanted to check my nervous system. Another tale of UFO abduction is that of Betty and Barney Hill. A couple from New Hampshire claimed that they were abducted by aliens on September 19, 1961, while making their way back home from a holiday in Niagara Falls in Montreal. Betty claimed that she saw a bright light in the sky, initially thinking it was just a shooting star. However, they say it got bigger and bigger, and Betty convinced Barney to stop the car so she could get out and take a look. Taking their dog for a walk, the couple got out of the vehicle. Betty looked through the binoculars to see the object in the sky. They got back into the car, kept driving. However, eventually they claimed a UFO moved above their vehicle. That's when they felt strong vibrations and heard strange buzzing sounds. All of a sudden, they found themselves 35 miles away from where they had been initially, but their memory was fragmented. In the days that followed, the couple conducted a 6-hour interview with the National Investigations Committee on Aerial Phenomena. And here we have another case. This is John Salter Jr., but not all alien abductions are cruel. We end on a positive note because John Salter Jr. has a rather different take on alien abduction. The sociology professor was driving through Wisconsin towards Mississippi with his son in 1988 when he had an encounter with friendly aliens. He claims that they were all of a sudden gripped by amnesia, finding themselves abducted but not remembering how. After regaining consciousness, the pair saw short humanoid figures and they were led away to be experimented on. But this wasn't a problem for Mr. Salter. He and his son were led towards a bright room where tubes were inserted in their nostrils, and the experiments, which were described as being ethical and honorably done to good ends. Mr. Salter even said he felt the positive health benefits after the incident. Speaking of the abduction, he said, "My immunity is heightened. Cuts and scratches now clot immediately and heal rapidly. My head, hair, fingernails, and toes are growing 2 to 3 times normal rate. Some of my age spots have disappeared, and the wrinkles in my face have faded." So there you go. A happy ending. Okay, there you go. 4 good stories there on the UFO phenomena happening in the world these days, and, well, quite frankly, been happening for a long while. That's it. I'll be back momentarily. I'm going to throw a song in for a few moments, and then we'll continue. Stay tuned.
Come into our circle, Great Spirit. Fill our souls with peace.
Continue on. Continuing on. So I'd like to continue on with the train of thought that we've been following thus far. We've got the mortal realm where we live, which is a system that is a counterfeit system of the immortal realms. This realm, as we understand from the Nag Hammadi library, was created by a being that we are told is the fallen one, an imperfect being. The Gnostic Gospels refer to this being as Yaldabaoth. We know him from the Old Testament as Yahweh. This being created numerous assistants, 7 major ones. These are referred to as Archons. Yaldabaoth, Yahweh, is considered the chief Archon. And these Archons have been given various influence over humanity. Now, in addition to these 7, there were others that were created, other assistants. There were angels, demons, and so on. So there was quite a creation that came from this Yaldabaoth Yahweh. But what was missing was that divine spark. And so that divine spark that flows through all things comes in from elsewhere. And that's the divine spark that woke Adam up from his situation that there was a being trying to trap within his being this spark of God. God got the last laugh in all of this, though, because God could not be trapped. And that is, or was, the problem for Yahweh. So here we are. We're living in this system that was artificially created. We have a system that we're told created by these Archons and by Yahweh is a system that is a counterfeit or a copy of another realm. From what we've come to understand through the descriptions in the Bible and the other books of spirituality out there, the earth has always been, up to the last 500 years, been described as being a flat plane that does not move, that has a firmament over it, or a dome. Interestingly enough, in the immortal realms, they all have these firmament over their realms as well. So it seems to be that there is a series of realms that exist that all seem to be described as like domed cities. So very interesting. So here we are, living on this earth plane, which, from what I understand, is a flat plane that has this dome over it, and we are living within this terrarium. Now, the question I have in mind, and the thought that I'm following, is what is the order of influence that is taking place within this dome, within this terrarium? And what we have is astrology, and we have Kabbalistic studies. And so the question is, how do these relate to us? How do these relate to the immortal realms? Or is this a system that's in place that is completely random or different than the immortal realms, and so following along with this system completely throws us off? Those are the questions that I want to know, because if following these studies take us further away from source, then it's important to not be involved with those studies. I could tell you personally, in all of my years of studying Kabbalistic studies, astrology, all of these sciences as esoteric sciences, all of these years of study has only brought me closer to understanding source. It has not moved me away from it whatsoever. So I use my personal experience to help understand more whether or not this is something beneficial to me or not. And I understand this to be a very important thing to understand, because I want to know who's influencing us, how we are influenced. So I'm going to stop rambling now and show you a few things here. First of all, let me remind you of the tree of life here. Tree of life, we went over the pattern of the Trestleboard. We have a symbol here which represents consciousness as it is manifesting from the immortal realms down to the material realm. And the one key element that is in all of these things is spirit. Spirit flows through all of these things and then manifests itself accordingly. So this herein could show us that this symbol here is showing us how duality works itself out when it moves into materialism. And that is what we're told we learn from the tree of life, duality, how things have to be balanced. Henceforth, the idea of balancing things out. So we have this tree. We have these 11 points of expression here. Let me read these. And if you were to look at these every day, I'd like to maybe incorporate this on a regular basis on the show. All the power that ever was or will be is here now. That's the Ein Sof all around. 1. Up here at the crown, I am a center of expression for the primal will to good, which eternally creates and sustains the universe. So that establishes us, each and every one of us, as a point of expression for this source. We're a drop of water in this large ocean. We're a way in which this energy expresses itself. And If this energy didn't want to express itself as us, we wouldn't be here. No need for us to be here. So we have a purpose. We are a center of expression. Something is being expressed. Okay? Now, through me, its unfailing wisdom takes form in thought and word, understanding that, that all of this wisdom is within inside of us. Okay? How things that we do, the thoughts and the words, they all manifest into this reality, and our wisdom helps to guide that along. Understanding, I'm filled with understanding of the perfect law. I am guided along, moment by moment, along the path of liberation. 4. From the exhaustless riches of its limitless substance, I draw all things needful, both spiritual and material. Very important. This is where the whole idea, people talk about the law of attraction. We can get what we want because it's the universal law of how things apply in our lives. Severity, the opposite of this, tells us I recognize the manifestation of the undeviating justice in all the circumstances of my life. Everything is just. Everything balances itself out. Right here in the middle, in all things great and small, I see the beauty of the divine expression. 7. Living from that will, supported by its unfailing wisdom and understanding, mine is the victorious life. 8. I look forward with confidence to the perfect realization of the eternal splendor of the limitless light. 9. In thought and word and deed, I rest my life from day to day upon the sure foundation of eternal being. And 10. The kingdom of spirit is embodied in my flesh. Okay, this sums it all up. Spirit has been embodied in the flesh. It made that journey down into the flesh, and we want to not trap it there, but to allow its expression as it evolves. Okay, the Emerald Tablet of Hermes. Hermes, one of the wise teachers of the past, says, true without falsehood, certain and most true, that which is above is as that which is below, and that which is below is as that which is above, for the performance and the miracles of the one thing. And as all things are from one by the mediation of one, so all things have their birth from this one thing by adaptation. The sun is its father, the moon its mother, the wind carries it in its belly. Its nurse is the earth, and the father of all perfection or consummation of the whole world. Its power is integrating if it be turned into earth. Thou shalt separate the earth from the fire, the subtle from the gross, suavely and with great ingenuity. It ascends from the earth to heaven and descends again to earth, and receives the power of the superiors and of the interiors. So thou hast thou the glory of the whole world, therefore let all obscurity flee before thee. This is the strong force of all the forces, overcoming every subtle and penetrating every solid thing. So the world was created, hence were all wonderful adaptations, of which this is the manner. Therefore I am called Hermes Trismegistus, having the 3 parts of the philosophy of the whole world, which I have to tell you is completed concerning the operation of the sun. Okay, a lot of information in there. Again, talking about the upper world, the immortal realms, and the lower realm being a reflection of that. That which is above the immortal realms is as that which is below. So a counterfeit world. And again, this is a very useful table here, the Tarot of Corespondences. I went over it briefly yesterday. This here will help you to understand everything you need to know. Now, the first and foremost, the purpose of these cards, these tarot cards there, simply it's a book of wisdom. Wisdom put into a series of pictures. You've heard the phrase, picture's worth 1,000 words. That sums it all up right there. So you have this book of wisdom that you could carry with you as opposed to having a whole library of books that you're dragging around. The whole idea is not about fortune telling, not about predicting someone's future, but of self-study. So we use this to help understand ourselves better. And so with the tarot cards, you have 22 major arcana. These are major circumstances, major event type things that take place, archetypal situations. And they all have names: the Fool, Magician, High Priestess, Emperor, Empress, Hierophant, Lovers, Chariot, Strength, Hermit, Wheel of Fortune, Justice, Hanged Man, Death, Temperance, Devil, Tower, Star, Moon, Sun, Judgment, World. And each one of these is connected with the Hebrew letter, the Hebrew alphabet: Aleph, Beth, Gimel, Dalet, Hey, Vav, Zayin, Chet, Tet, Yod, Kaf, Lamed, Mem, Nun, Samek, Ayin, Peh, Zadik, Chof, Resh, Shin, Tav. So by understanding what this card is, the picture representation, the Fool, it helps us better understand what Aleph means. And then you start to apply these other significance to it. It helps us understand the bull, house, camel. And then we also have the astrology. You can look at each one of these astrological signs. So we know the Fool, the astrology is Uranus, rules over the air. So air is expression, words, action. Uranus brings unexpected change. So with the Fool, we know that we have unexpected change in the area of air, and a way in which we express ourselves and our thoughts that come to us. Okay. And so this is a really good chart here. Really good chart, really good way to kind of help understand. And just remember, if you just take each one of these and just understand the keywords, you'll get a really good understanding, and you'll learn more about this all the time. As much as I've learned, I'm always learning more about this. Okay, and then you can learn that if you are able to really get the significance here of the Hebrew alphabet, it tells you that you get to understand that these cards are just something that is representing these symbols as opposed to the other way around. Okay, and then I found this article here, which kind of talks about the Archons and the idea of their influence through these planets and the stars. So this is one of the things I was mentioning just a few moments ago. So the Archons as planetary forces, because this is what they've been described as in one way. Many Gnostic texts display the Archons as 7 old planets: Mars, Venus, Sun, Moon, Mercury, Jupiter, and Saturn. And most of them attribute the Demiurge, that's the head of the Archons, to Saturn. So does this mean that the Gnostics of old actually believed in evil entities that existed up there who rule the fate of humanity? Or does it mean that many Gnostics saw these not as beings per se, but more in an astrological sense as the planetary influences upon our lives? We know from science that the moon, otherwise called Luna, has an actual effect on the water on this planet, on the tides, and even on the menstrual cycle of women, which is tied up in the cycles of the moon. The moon is also said to affect the minds of men and women. After all, we are dominantly made of water, and asylums frequently report more madness at the time of the full moon. Indeed, this is where we get the term lunacy and lunatic form. Lunacy and lunatic. We know from sheer existence that the sun, Sol, has an actual effect on the life of this planet, and that without it, life could not exist. It provides heat. It helps plants grow. It even affects our moods. And when the sun is less frequent in the winter, many people report the winter blues, which is why so many religions have adopted solar ceremonies in an attempt to offset this. Indeed, some modern research indicates that the flu virus becomes prominent in winter simply because our vitamin D levels have been depleted by lack of sunlight. Now, I'm not a well-versed, scientifically speaking, on whether or not other planets have such noticeable effect on us here on Earth, and if so, what these effects might be. However, it doesn't take much of a leap to consider that they do, given their proximity. They have an effect on things here. This is what astrology teaches us. What if the bondage of the Archons is the bondage to our fate delineated in our natal chart in astrology? What if it is this bondage to the effects of the planets on our lives What if freedom from them involves planetary workings to offset these effects? What if, for example, a writer lacking a Mercury in his chart, the planet best associated with writing and the intellect, knowing that he is bound by the force of the Archons to produce inferior material, propitiates Mercury, invokes the planetary energies on a regular basis? What if a volatile person banishes Mars energies? Is this the work of a Gnostic? Is this parcel of some of the ancient ceremonies that the Gnostics carried out? Let's look at Saturn. Some people point out that the remarkable similarity between Saturn and the name Satan, and perhaps the Gnostics of old were some of those people. After all, some Gnostics equated the demiurge with Satan. Satan is the most malignant planet in our system. He is, in essence, the primary force of bondage. He is death, the image of the Green Reaper. Reaper was originally an image of Saturn. If Yahweh in the Old Testament is the demiurge, and his kicking humanity out of the Eden was removal of humanity's primordial immortality, then he is the instigator of death, and he is thus Saturn. In Western astrology, there is a thing called a Saturn return, which is basically the time when Saturn returns to its original place in the birth chart, taking roughly 30 years to do so. Then it follows a 2-year period of effectively bad luck. Vedic astrology has something similar called a Sade Sate, which lasts for a painstaking 7.5 years. Again, the emphasis is on the bad stuff happening, accidents, loss of money, illness, friends, family dying, etc. All in all, Saturn is seen as the big bad daddy of the astrological system. Of course, death is also transformative, as anyone with a cursory knowledge of tarot or of the dying and resurrection gods mythoi will know. But the emphasis is still that Saturn is bad, and it's easy to see how the demiurge came to be associated with him. I'm pushed for time at the moment, but the purpose of the story of this short post is to illustrate the different ways we can look at the mythology available to us. This is one way we can look at the Archons of old in modern light, and one that may feel most of us at home for all astrologers among us. So how do the planets affect this? How do they make most of their good effects and lessen the effects of the bad? Good questions. Okay, so hopefully you could see why I'm interested in the subject, because it ties in with everything. You know, if we're learning that the system we're living in is not what we're told, then I'd like to know what it really is. And that's the important part. And it does seem that there is a lot of very interesting significance for us in all of these studies. Okay, so one of the things we do when we come to Earth, as we're working on, is to figure out why we are here. What is our purpose? So this article speaks to that effect. Okay, it's called The Biggest Lesson You Came Here to Learn. It's from Michelle Welling over at CosmicStarSeeds.com. According to Dolores Cannon, everything in our reality is an illusion and nothing is real because everything is energy. Because of the agreements you made collectively with individuals, your reality is formed through energy that vibrates with a dimensional existence. This is the actors in our play. This is your movie, and you are the star in this play called life. The people who play the part of the extras in your play that do not have interaction with you in life are termed the backdrop people by Dolores Cannon, and the backfill people by Guy Needler. The coincidence of close terminology used by both was a confirmation for them, as neither of these authors read anyone else's material. Both authors have received very similar information from their individual sources, saying that the extras in our life in the background are not real. They're simply energy creations in our minds that we subconsciously created. They are holographic projections made of energy and vibrate at a lower frequency than we do. These extras do not have a soul and are not to be confused with the major role players in your life that have agreed to interact with. The reason they bring this information forth is to tie into the reason that we are here. The power of creation via the mind. The fact that we can create our reality proves how powerful our mind is, because you are creating everything around you in your world. You create the backdrop and the background people and agree with other souls to co-create what you see and experience. Your whole play is written, directed, and cast by you. This means you can create anything you would like. Nothing is impossible, and you can change your life with conscious creation and manifestation. According to canon, we collectively choose to be at a certain place, and the buildings that we meet in do not exist until we come together, until we create them together. The immense power of the mind is difficult to imagine, but think of it this way. Every time you leave your house, you're creating every moment and everything, and when you return home, you are recreating your home as well. If Earth is a school, then you would be able to graduate until you learn how to manipulate energy or to create. Here's the quote from Dolores: "The biggest lesson you came here to Earth to learn is how to manipulate energy." Okay, it says the law of attraction brings to you what you attract vibrationally, and what you think you will create. Change your thoughts and your vibration towards something, and change your reality. My article, The Science of Positive Manifestation, explains it is a scientific form for the left-brained thinkers through brain reprogramming. And my article, What Most People Do Not Know About Mainstream, covers the heart-based and the right-brain thinkers through the universal law of detachment. Most people are already changing their reality their own way. Some people are using intentions and spirit guides and angels to manifest anything from the parking spots to new jobs. Some are simply envisioning what they want with their new reality to look like with their imagination. Some people have become so powerful they have tackled this incarnation and are ready to exit out of reality. Each person has an individual journey and will need to spend time soul searching for answers, as most people already know. All the answers are truly within. This means that we all have the answers if we just take time to slow down and observe what we have created in front of us. Our outer manifestation is a mirror of our inner world, so paying close attention to your life will actually guide you as well as going within. As people raise their vibrations and practice manifestations through heartfelt intention, obvious results will show what works and what doesn't. This play unfolds in a blink of an eye, in no time, on the other side of the veil. When you leave your body and see things from an objective point of view, you realize that this life is just a very small experience in the vast sea of creation of your oversoul and beyond. One of the frequent messages brought forth from Dolores' past life regression sessions is that people take things way too seriously. Having this knowledge may now help you to lighten up a bit. Although the people in your life that you interact with are real, all difficulties and events in your life are subconsciously created by you. Once you realize this, you may wonder how to change your reality to something that you would rather experience. Since this is your play, this is something that we will have to be done on your own. Practicing how to manipulate this energy is the creative part that we can work on in order to progress in our own environment. According to canon, we can learn from what we created by recognizing what we are, master manifestors, and investigating what we are supposed to learn from each experience. Okay, good article, a good piece right here from Dolores. It's 17 minutes. So check that out. Check that out. Dolores is a wonderful teacher. She's no longer with us here on this physical plane, but is indeed out there somewhere, I trust. All right. That brings us to our channeled message for today. Here we go.
Archangel Gabriel Daily Message / Tuesday, March 22nd, 2016 by Shelley Young. Dear ones, what if the love you've been yearning for is your own unconditional love? What if the pain of separation you've been trying to heal could be resolved by connecting to, honoring and nurturing yourself? What if the God you've been seeking could be more fully experienced by discovering your divinity within? What if everything you've been looking for has been yours to give yourself by becoming your own reliable love, your own guide, your own loving parent, your own hero? If you understood you truly have everything you ever could need, How would your life change? How would the way you relate to others and the world around you transform? For it is through the most glorious inside job of all time that you will discover and anchor the energies of heaven on earth. Archangel Gabriel.
Alright, very nice. Very nice message. Close your eyes. Let's do our meditation for it today. Take a deep breath. And exhale. Take another breath. And exhale. Feel this breath of life as it flows through you. Inhale again. And exhale. Now just imagine that you're looking inside of yourself. And as you look inside yourself, you find this master control room. And this master control room has many different buttons and controls. And as you look to understand them, you see that there is something projecting out from you, like a movie projected out into the world, and you see where this movie comes from, and you see that it is sent to you to that inner control room where it is then projected out. And we realize that once this information is put into us, the way in which this movie projects itself into the world is dependent upon us. How we choose to do it. We can completely stifle and not allow this information to pass beyond us, or we could simply allow it to pass. We could experience a nightmare, or we could have a beautiful dream. We understand that all these possibilities exist. And when we take time to look at the actual information that is sent to us that becomes this movie, we find that what we think about it is often different than what it actually is. And we find that the fears that we have hold us back from allowing it to project itself properly. And so when we understand the purity of that which flows through us, then we begin to avoid doing anything that would corrupt this purity, whether it is corruption of thoughts, feelings, actions. We simply know that all things are energy, and that by working to understand and manipulate energy better, our lives take on more and deeper meanings. So let's the subconscious mind continue on the journey now, observing the world, observing that which flows through us, and observing the way in which we allow that to flow out into the world. Noticing whether we do so with the energy freely passing through, or whether we block it. It is ours to discover. So let the subconscious mind continue on this journey of discovery, and let's bring the conscious mind back to the present moment on the count of 3. 3, coming back to the present moment filled with confidence. 2, coming back to the present moment filled with faith. And 1, coming back to the present moment happy, healthy, and whole. Happy, healthy, and whole. Take another deep breath. Exhale. And open your eyes. That's it, my friends. That's the show for today. Thank you very much for being here. It's a lot of information. The links are all available. Check it out. I appreciate your emails. I appreciate your comments. Thank you very much. Just remember, one step at a time, my friends. One day at a time. What's going on in the outside is the projections of others. We have within us the spirit flowing through. We just need to allow that to flow through, to shine out around us. to create that reality that we have. Remember, we are all each individuals projecting out into the world an image of divinity. It's only the outside world that tries to change that and convince us otherwise. Just keep that in perspective, and I think we understand a great deal about what's going on. That's it, my friends. Have an awesome day. I love you. Keep loving each other, and I'll talk to you soon. Peace. I'm out of here.